professional wrestling, one of the most curious of our American divertissements. But in this weird and wacky world, in this giddy gallery of clowns and improbable monsters, is a strange phenomenon. One man who is different. A lonely giant, one of the world's great wrestlers, still trying to maintain the dignity of an ancient sport. This is Lou Thesz, and this is his story. The story of a wrestler.
Steady now. Don't move. There we are. And in 60 seconds, I'll show you the picture. But this camera pictures only what it sees. So if you're overweight, that's how you'd look in the picture. And that's how you look in the eyes of your family and friends. It's impossible to hide unsightly fat. But it isn't impossible to get rid of fat. Not if you reduce the proven, accepted, and guaranteed way. Yes, Taffon guarantees you can lose up to a pound a day, safely, sanely, enjoyably. Safely because Taffon contains no harmful or habit-forming drugs. Sanely because Taffon is an aid to appetite appeasement, which means that tiny Taffon tablets help you do without the extra food that adds extra weight. And you'll lose your overweight enjoyably because with Taffon there are no muscle-building exercises, no calorie-counting diets or starvation. You'll continue to eat all the foods you enjoy, healthy, well-balanced meals. So, if you're overweight, and if you want to feel better and look better, get genuine Taffon tablets, featured at drug counters everywhere. Oh, about that picture I promised you. Oh, why not look in a full-length mirror? The effect will be the same, and if you're too fat, reduce the safe, guaranteed Taffon way.
I'm John Willis. It's always been natural for man to test his strength against another, to prove his superiority by sheer physical force. Although the origins of wrestling are lost in antiquity, it became a highly developed sport at least 3,000 years before the Christian era. It was held in high honor by the ancient Egyptians and celebrated by the Greeks at the Olympic Games. Wrestling became an art under the Greeks and Romans, who saw in the bodily contact of young man against young man a purity, a nobility of form worthy of being carved in stone. Today it is somewhat changed. This is Haystack Muldoon, 535 pounds of sheer stampeding stomach. He wins by methods that would astonish the ancient Greeks. And there are other wrestling heroes. This is Fritz von Goring. What does he think about when he gets into the ring?
What do I think about? How fast I can put my opponent out of action. I have this man sized up. I've watched him. I've had my, well, you might call it spies. We filmed him. I've studied his films. I've studied his wrestling. I know everything he does. I know his weaknesses. And when I have him in the ring, he is no problem at all. I dispose of him very quickly. I'm the world's greatest wrestler, the world's finest German wrestler, and the world's most perfect conditioned wrestler.
This is Mr. Moto. Cunning, inscrutable.
I don't have nothing in my mind. I go wrestle all the time free. My mind free until I go in the ring. When I go in the ring, I do everything legal.
Next hero, Freddie Blassie, heavyweight champion of the United States.
Going out, whenever I get out there, I think of fastest way I can beat the man and easiest way. Of course, none of them are easy due to the fact that if they were, they wouldn't be in that squared circle out there. But I'm out there to annihilate the man as fast as I can, and the ambition of my life is to kill somebody in the ring.
the midst of all this is a gentle giant, Lou Thesz, champion of the world. In 2,300 wrestling matches, he has lost only 4 times. Lou, are these fights rehearsed?
Rehearsing a wrestling match would be like rehearsing a fixed horse race or a fixed baseball game, and it would really be incongruous to try to do such a thing. If anyone were to throw any kind of a sporting event, I don't think they would rehearse it. I've been wrestling some 20 years, and I haven't participated in any fixed matches, and nor have I done any rehearsal, nor have I ever heard of one.
What about the punches and dirty blows? Aren't they faked?
No, they aren't. No, most of the fellas that have been in the game for 3 or 4 years, they have the scars to show it and the missing teeth too. Learning how to ride with a punch, of course, is very important. And if you don't catch it coming in, why, you have a chance of riding away without getting cut too badly or not getting cut at all.
Lou, don't you believe it's all this exhibitionism, the showmen in the ring today, that have given people the idea that wrestling is fixed?
Yes, I know there's a lot of talk of it, and too much of the showmanship, of course, isn't good. Showmanship coupled with a lot of ability is fine, but when you replace the ability with all showmanship and no ability, these are the things that I think hurt wrestling, and we that have spent our lives at wrestling don't like it. And I don't think that all is well with wrestling. No, I don't think that at all. A lot of fellas have long hair and capes and high shoes, boots, and different colored trunks. This doesn't make a wrestler. It may help a fellow that's a little short on ability to draw some money and end up a little better in pocket. Not too much, I don't believe. I spend my life, all of my life, learning to wrestle. It's the only means of livelihood I've ever had, and the only gimmick that I have in wrestling is wrestling.
Wrestling fans, it takes a great deal of pleasure in presenting to you a man who actually needs no introduction the world over. Formerly of St. Louis, Missouri, now makes his home in beautiful La Jolla, California. Now recognized as the international heavyweight wrestling champion, the great Lou Thesz.
I don't like to lose. I'm very depressed when I lose. I'm 45 years of age now. I wrestle a lot of youngsters, and I think my reflex moves right along with theirs. And the only reason that I still think this is that I continually beat them. But when I lose a match, it really discourages me. I haven't lost many. I always think, is this the tip-off? Am I going downhill? And I don't want to know this. The audiences don't bother me at all. As a matter of fact, when I'm in the thick of it, I don't even know that they're there. I could just as well be in a gymnasium with nobody around, with 4 walls. It's entertaining to them. Sometimes I think that it's maybe a poor little henpecked guy at home that wants to go to the match and shout at some big ruffian and tell him what a no-good individual he is. But I sometimes think that the females go to the wrestling matches for beefcake like some of the men go to the various girly shows for the cheesecake.
When he leaves the ring, Lou Thesz becomes part of a cleaner, fresher world. He likes to get away from the crowds, and with his son, Jeffrey, he frequently heads for the open range, for the ranch he owns in the Lucerne Valley. This is Lou's wife, Freda, a talented artist whose watercolors are exhibited at several colleges. This 120-acre ranch is one of their homes, but they spend most of their time in the exclusive beach town of La Jolla, California, close to the swimming, surfing, and deep-sea fishing Lou loves.
I try to discourage my son Jeffrey from becoming a professional wrestler because as I look back, I was so lucky to have acquired the position in wrestling that I have now. I would prefer that he be a businessman. If he really wants to be a wrestler, I of course will not object because I think every man should do what he likes to do, and I want him to be an individual. And if he really thinks he would like to wrestle, of course I would help him.
Around La Jolla, this old roadster is Lou's trademark. In a quarter century of competition, he has earned over $2 million. And if he has some of the scars of competition, he also has some of the rewards of having earned big money. Lou owns and lives in this 20-unit apartment house on the La Jolla beachfront. Away from the ring, his dominant interest is real estate, and he intends to devote himself to this full-time when he retires from wrestling. Right now, he is planning another multiple-unit dwelling on property he owns nearby.
Have you done anything about this leasing of this property yet, or made any financial arrangements of it?
You know, it's all zoned as R4.
Yeah?
With the variance, why, that could handle the whole situation. So far as the city planning board is concerned, you can go sky high.
Yeah. It would be a very nice site right across from the ocean. Be ideal.
At home, Lou and his wife enjoy throwing big barbecue parties. He likes to see his friends eat, and he himself will sometimes put away a 10-pound sirloin.
I was born hungry, and I think I'm going to die hungry. And I always live in the, not in the dread, but in the constant thought that perhaps I'll be broke again. And once that you're really broke, you don't have any money, you don't have the means to subsist, it leaves a mark on one, I think, and I don't want that to happen again. And that's one of the reasons that I've worked so hard. I put out that extra effort when things look very black, and I thought that perhaps, well, this could be it. I'm going to be beaten now. I wouldn't tolerate it. I would just say, well, not now. It will have to be later. And I think that little difference, the difference of going hungry a time or two, helps a lot.
Wrestling promoters know this fear and this hunger in Lou, and know that he is always available for a match. Here in the offices of the Worldwide Wrestling Association, matchmakers for Southern California, an opponent for Lou is discussed by promoters Sander Szabo and Jules Strongbow, former wrestling champions.
Well, wait just a minute. I'll have to say, Zob, what about Lou Thesz 2 weeks from Friday? They want him in Madison Square.
Yeah, he's open Friday, Jules. It's okay.
Yeah, that's okay, Vince. Okay then, boy. I'll be calling you in a couple of days.
A match is being arranged. The traditional and classic style of Lou Thesz against the wild and unpredictable Mr. Moto.
Coca-Cola gives you that refreshing new feeling. Enjoy ice-cold Coke right now. Get zing, what a feeling with ice-cold Coke right now. Coca-Cola gives you that refreshing new feeling. Zing, what a feeling with the Coke. Ice-cold, ice-cold. For real refreshment, reach for the real thing. Ice-cold Coke right now. Coca-Cola gives you that refreshing new feeling. Zing, what a feeling with a Coke. Ice cold. Enjoy ice cold Coke right now.
Match against Mr. Moto is only 2 days away. Lou trains by running for hours along the beach at La Jolla. He is 45 years old, a man who hates to lose, especially to the new breed of show business wrestlers. In 26 years, he has lost only 4 times, and he feels that each time he enters the ring, he is laying his carefully won reputation on the line. The day before the fight, he works out in the empty arena with a young protege, Sam Steamboat. Dick Lane, television commentator for the matches, comes down to watch the warm-up. Lou has to be in top shape because he knows that Mr. Moto, a crowd-pleasing villain, will resort to any tactics. And Moto, with his wild and unorthodox style, can be very dangerous. Lou has taught Steamboat all he knows about wrestling. They are friends, and this is just a workout, but no holds are barred.
I've had all my fingers and knuckles broken, and my thumbs have been broken 3 or 4 times each, and the joints are quite enlarged because of that, just as some of the fighters do. and it's an occupational hazard. It's just one of those things. And aside from a cauliflower ear, which is nothing at all, it's very painful when they're fresh, but they calcify a little bit later and they aren't painful at all. I've had both clavicles broken and both clavicles separated, and numerous broken ribs at various times, broken kneecap, left patella was badly fractured. I thought I would stop wrestling. Concussions do come occasionally. I had one several years ago. Luckily, I recovered completely, and I say that I did anyway. The only time that an injury can be really serious, to my way of thinking, is if you have bad concussions, if you have more than one, and they hang on, I think a fellow should stop wrestling.
The night of the match, the crowd arrives early. Each year, more than 50 million fans pay to watch professional wrestling in the United States. These are the most partisan spectators of any sport. Backstage, most of the wrestlers know that their value at the box office lies in developing a style of showmanship to please or provoke the fans. Lou refuses to change his style. He is a wrestler. He comes only to wrestle. He arrives an hour before the match, and he moves through this mob of showmen with a quiet dignity the others respect. With the advent of television, professional wrestling changed and was taken over by actor-showmen, men with gimmicks. Example, Mr. Moto. Basically an expert wrestler, he has found it profitable to become a professional villain. His act is to come down to the arena as a serene Oriental. But en route, he skillfully manages to provoke the crowd and shout insults at them. Lou weighs in. He has wrestled once or twice a week for the past quarter century, and he is seldom out of shape. He weighs 221 pounds, almost exactly what he weighed at 19. Lou enters the ring with no costume, no cape, no ceremony, just a towel. Mr. Moto becomes the villain the moment he comes down the aisle.
Introducing to you on my left, out of Tokyo in Japan, recognized as the Oriental heavyweight champion at 221 pounds, Mr. Moto. Now, ladies and gentlemen, his opponent this evening really needs no introduction to you wrestling fans the world over. From beautiful La Jolla, California, formerly of St. Louis, Missouri, weighing in at 229.5 pounds, now the international heavyweight wrestling champion, Lou Thesz.
before the fight, Mr. Moto treats the audience to the ponderous ritual practiced by the sumo wrestlers of Japan. It's over in 9.5 minutes. Coming out of his daze, Mr. Moto is protesting to the referee that whatever hit him was illegal.
34 seconds, emerging victorious by the use of a flying drop kick and a body press. The great international champion winner, Lou Thesz.
For Lou Thesz, the night's work is over. As he comes out of the ring, another victory has been added to his incredible record. We'll be back in a moment with the story of a wrestler.
Any place, any time is a good time for Coke.
Only Coca-Cola gives you that refreshing new feeling. Refreshing new feeling. Refreshing new feeling. Coca-Cola's bright and lively. Coca-Cola has more zest. Coke is a lot more zest than living. Refreshing zest. Only Coca-Cola gives you that refreshing new feeling. Refreshing new feeling. Refreshing new feeling. Coca-Cola gives you that refreshing new feeling. Coca-Cola refreshes best. Only Coca-Cola gives you that refreshing new feeling. Coca-Cola refreshes best.
It has taken Lou Thesz exactly 9 minutes and 34 seconds to dispose of Mr. Moto. After a shower, he'll return to his other world, the clean, fresh world of his home and family. Lou Thesz has been a wrestler for over 25 years, all his adult life. He remembers the golden age of professional wrestling. He remembers men like Strangler Lewis and Jim Londos, who were his idols. Then, with the advent of television, he watched the sport he loves being taken over by clowns and crowd pleasers. But Lou Thesz, a lonely giant, continues to do his job, continues to honor his craft, in the hope that someday the classic art of wrestling will come back. Next week, the man who enjoys having the most dangerous job in the world. Watch for the story of a test pilot.